Good morning, and welcome to this morning's devotional. This morning, we're going to be talking about the topic of the resurrection. And as I was thinking through what I wanted to say about this topic, I had a thought about a misconception that I think a lot of people have when it comes to the afterlife. If you see someone pass away, you generally hear kind of two different statements. One is that heaven gained another angel, or the idea that their spirit is at rest forever. And those ideas are not necessarily biblical, because dating back all the way into the Old Testament and even into the New Testament, there is the idea that yes, when we die in our earthly bodies, our souls go on to be with God or to depart from God, but that one day, at some point, when Jesus returns, that all people will rise again from the dead. And I think another misconception is that it's just Christians are going to rise from the dead. No, that's not what the Bible teaches at all. It says that all people will experience a resurrection. But the difference is that for the believer, for the Christian, they will get a glorified body. I want to invite you at some point after this devotional to look at 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and read what Paul has to say about this. When talking about the believer's future resurrected body, he says that we will be like Jesus is. And it compares it to a seed that goes into the ground and that when it sprouts and comes out, it's something much better than the seed will ever be. And that our earthly bodies as believers, when they die, they are kind of the seeds planted, and then when Jesus comes back and brings us back, we are like a beautiful tree that rises and is much better than that seed will ever be. And what's interesting is if you want to have an idea of what our resurrected bodies will be like, go back and look at Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and see how Jesus is with his resurrected body. There's some moments where he's kind of like, he sounds like he can go through walls and he can do certain things, but he can also touch and have physical things. And it's very interesting when we look at what we can do with our resurrected body. And so what Paul is essentially saying is that when the believer's body gets glorified to be like Jesus's, it'll be better than anything we've ever experienced. He says the earthly bodies, they have their own kind of splendor. They have some goodnesses about them. I think one of the unfortunate parts about earthly bodies is that they are prone to decay. But Paul says, not our heavenly bodies. Our heavenly bodies are something way better and way more glorious, and they are a splendor within themselves. And so I hope you learned a little bit more today about that misconception that people have, that not only do we not live forever, or not only do we not become angels, but in fact that everybody rises from the dead someday. But it's the believers who will experience what it means to have that glorified body because we are in Christ. And for those who are not, it seems as though that after that resurrection, there is that sentencing, as we see in John chapter 5 when Jesus talks about that. So I invite you to go check out 1 Corinthians chapter 15 to look at what Paul says about it. It's a very interesting piece, and I hope you learned a little bit more today about what it is to experience the resurrection.